start.
Okay.
Hey, all right. Wow, we broke something already.
I mean, it
Yay.
happens. We are streaming. So if you're not breaking things, are you really even streaming?
I,
No.
that's a good question. Thank you everybody for being here tonight. We have a couple. So I have Foxy Project with me and Dark Pawn as well. All three of us were at GaryCon. Dark Pawn and I were running games at GaryCon, so lots of fun things to talk about there. We also have a couple of very special guests from the GaryCon team. So we have King Bashman, who I'll let him introduce himself here in just a little bit, and we also have Kat. So with that, why don't you guys go ahead, Kat? Let's hear from you first. So who are you, and what do you have to do with GaryCon?
Yeah, I'm Kat. People call me Courtney Kat. I have a lot of nicknames and stuff. I do communications for GaryCon. So a little bit of work throughout the year and then trying to make sure I post and get people's posts approved while they're on site at the convention and some work. But of course, a little bit of gaming too. I couldn't fully give it up while on site.
That is awesome. And we got the opportunity to actually spend some time with you there. Hello, Intoxicated Kitten. We had the opportunity to actually spend some time talking to you there at the con, so that was exciting as well.
Mhm.
And just to get through the introduction piece, Bashman, tell us about you.
uh and Bash do things. Yeah, I'm Jeff. Everybody knows me as Bash or Bashman. Been a veteran volunteer now for GaryCon for I don't know how many years because brain don't math right now. But it's been quite a lot. Um I seem to throughout the year have my hands in just about everything for the most part, helping with comms, website, the beginning stages of events, a little bit, mostly tech, AV, and things of that nature, plus all the grunt work that goes on in setup and tear down. But yeah, most of my time at GaryCon is running around fixing things or putting out the oh God, what do we do? Fires and things of that nature.
Awesome.
Thankfully, this year I managed to actually get into a game. So
Well,
yeah.
and I have to say, for the two of you, I mean, you obviously do a really good job with the things that you do because, from my perspective, nothing went wrong at GaryCon this year. So I'm sure that's completely false, but hey, awesome work.
Yeah.
And last but not least, we have Foxy Project and Dark Pawn. Foxy, you did some volunteering this year too, didn't you?
I did. I showed up. We got there Sunday night, and starting Monday morning, it was the rush to unload the trucks and find the merch and stuff the GM packets and stuff the swag bags and put up signs. There is a lot that goes on behind the scenes. I had no idea. Now I know. I had a good time though. Like, it's one of those things where I volunteered for a lot of things in my life, but I've never felt like I was like truly welcomed from the very start, like I did showing up for GaryCon.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it's
Absolutely.
amazing.
From my experience, there's a lot of really good people. I can't think of a better word to use, but I mean a lot of good people that are involved with GaryCon that make it something special every year. So that is awesome, and I'm glad that you yourself took the opportunity to get engaged with that. Last but not least is us two lazy GMs. So Darpon, go for it.
Uh, Nothing. It was great. I had a blast at GaryCon. It's been 30 years since I've run at a convention, so that was fun kicking the rust off. I think the first one, in hindsight, I was kicking myself probably more than anybody else, but I got to play with Kat and Bash and everybody. Actually, all of you sat at my table at one point. It was fun. It was fun. I was pretty nervous, like going into it, and then by the time I started running, it kind of was like riding a bike, and yeah,
a good time. My son had a blast. I mean, putting on that armor was quite the a fan favorite. Him and Stefan Pokorny partied pretty late at the midnight bash, which I'm just going to argue. It says 10 to midnight, and it was like well after 2:30. My son finally let me go to bed. I firmly believe, and I don't know if Kat or Bash can confirm this. I believe that Stefan is part Fae, not require sleep.
Um, well, he certainly likes to party, and he's good at it. And
Oh my
I don't know,
gosh,
he's
Yeah.
just a charismatic dude.
funny.
I
Yeah.
believe I can believe he's part Fae.
Yes, I concur.
That is
I can
awesome.
believe it.
No, that
I
was
can see it.
that was a lot of fun.
Satyr.
I was at both of your games, and Alien can take on some new life, and we had some really great players at the table too. So lots of fun, and of course, for myself, I ran the next 4 chapters or the next 4 sessions of Beyond the Wall Cyberpunk. And then also 2 sessions of Walking Dead in the evening, and those were, focusing on the Walking Dead games, quite awesome. I had Foxy was at the table both times for those, so and we had a lot of great players, and using the theater of the mind aspect to it. A lot of people, I got to say, every player, except for possibly one. Um, really brought their character to life. And well, you weren't in the game, man. Come on.
No,
Um,
let me take the fall. I'll take the fall. It was this guy.
They really did, though. And even the one that you're thinking of that, maybe didn't. Well, no, you're thinking of the guy in the first night, weren't you?
I'm not going to be descriptive that way.
All right.
It was me. We'll just leave it at that.
But I mean, I think he was as engaged as he wanted to be,
Right.
which is great. I mean,
You know what's crazy? And I don't want to interrupt, but like, we sat at tables where we'd have a player that would sit there and say nothing, like with almost no emotion. And then you take a break and they're like, "Oh my God, I'm loving it." And you're like, we're like, they tell you, "Oh, I
really?
love this." Yeah,
Okay,
you're like, they're
wait,
like,
wait, wait. I feel like a little bit like you're calling out my husband.
"No,
A little bit.
not at
No.
He's a
all.
no.
pretty quiet dude.
Not
No,
Dylan, no.
no,
He's really
actually,
quiet, but like he's taking it all in.
no, Kat, let me put it this
Yeah.
way. Your husband role played 3 times as much as the guy I'm talking about. Like, I would have thought he was
Hated it.
bored out of his mind,
Right.
hated it, wanted nothing to do with it. And I'm like, why did you even waste your time getting a ticket to sit here? And then literally during break, he's like, yeah, this is really cool. And he was there last year. I'm positive he played
Yeah,
last
he
year.
did. He did.
And I'm like, but you wouldn't know that he was like, honestly, I would barely know he had a pulse if I didn't like see his like chest breathing, like moving it back and forth. It was crazy, but he loved it. And then on the flip side, I played with somebody that was super out there, whatever, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that was boring. I hated that thing." And I'm like, "What?" And not for
Really?
me. It wasn't my game. It was
Oh,
another
okay.
game we sat in. Honestly, I mean, hey, if somebody has a bad experience, let me know and I'll try to make it better. But no, we were
Right.
sitting at another table, and a person who was really out there and they seemed to be into it and role playing. They're like, "Oh, that was bad." I was talking to them later. They're like, "Oh, that was not good." Like, it's crazy. But in the end of the day, everybody had fun, hanging out. That was the guy from Texas. That was Steve.
Oh,
Steve
wow.
and
Yeah.
Jeff. I don't know if you met them, but apparently I'm invited to go role play at his house anytime in Texas when I happen to be in. So
Get right on that.
yeah,
Yeah.
Wisconsin, Texas, we're like,
Yeah, neighbors.
brothers.
Practically
Yeah.
next
Yeah,
door.
Yeah.
brother states. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think the last 2 years in particular, for me because those are my focus years for GaryCon, and it has been a absolutely awesome experience. Last year was a little different because we also had the aspect of having the virtual element that was involved. So yeah, we had some other members of the team that were running virtual games as well. Um, this year, no virtual aspect, but it definitely, the con overall was fantastic. I thought so.
I forgot about that. How did that like how did that work? I mean, Cat and Bash, did you guys were you kind of involved in that pretty heavily last year?
In the virtual part,
Yeah, the online games.
um, I wasn't. For me, I mostly do. Well, I mean, it wasn't in the way of which sends messages out, so I kind of helped with some of the messaging that goes out. But virtual, it was tough, and I know there were arguments for both keeping and axing it, and it was a difficult decision because we don't want people to feel excluded. Um, but you have to have enough people who are willing to do the online support for if people can't get into their virtual rooms and this and that and get it set up, or if people aren't showing up, that can be a little bit bigger problem for virtual because people be like, oh, it's just a virtual game. I'll just not do it. I think it was partially a manpower thing of people wanting to come and be physically at the convention and just not having the resources to fully support the online convention aspect as well as we would have liked if we would have continued it. It's kind of a bummer, like, because I mean, if I weren't able to go and I'm an extreme gamer, that's the best you can do. But
I know we met a lot of, I mean, we met a lot of interesting people at the con both years, but I mean we met a lot of very interesting people, like some of the other groups that are out there like Dice Legends, through the virtual games.
yep,
So I mean that there's definitely some benefit to having that.
yeah.
So I do want to just dig into that for just a moment, if you don't mind, Kat. Not necessarily the virtual piece to that, but the staffing part to it. I know, it's hard. It's hard sometimes to staff these events, and it requires a lot of people to engage and do a lot of different things. So, could you and Bash maybe tell us a little bit about that? What are some of the things going on, and
I'll let him start because he has a very famous quote I think he's going to use here.
And don't look for me for professional answers. I'm just a volunteer.
aren't we all?
He
This
likes to
is
pull
my
that message.
default answer anytime somebody expects me to use my brain.
I started as a volunteer and I just looking to keep my skills sharp while I'm doing the stay-at-home parent thing. And like I said earlier, that kind of leads into a staff role when you're dedicated and you just keep showing up and doing good work. Um, really just showing that you care and putting your heart into it. And that's what a lot of people who are officially staff did to kind of get their foot in the door. So there's not tons and tons of staff. Just a lot of people who are really dedicated to making sure GaryCon is a great time. So kind of difficult to gauge because I'm guessing other conventions have a lot more support. But when you're a bigger like Gen Con kind of convention, probably have a little bit more of a budget to hire people out and make sure you have all those financial resources to get your personnel.
Right, right. Well,
Kind of
and
hard to guess.
I would only imagine. I mean, Gen Con definitely is, on a different scale altogether.
Yep.
And positive or negative, I don't view it as a positive scale simply because it's in my mind it's too big. Where
Mhm.
something the size of GaryCon, what would you say was it roughly 5,000? I mean, how many people?
Probably less than that. Probably 3 to 4 total,
3 to 4 thousand? Okay, okay,
somewhere in
that's
there for and that includes all the like GaryCon staff and all of the volunteers and all the people who are press or this or that who kind of came in for a little bit and maybe left right away. That's about where it lands. Um, But yeah, you'd think that most of the stuff that we do on site is really, really important, but I have to hand it to the events team because um, I tend to be on the staff and volunteer Discord a lot when I'm doing work throughout the year. So I always, especially when events have all come pouring in kind of toward the end of the year before, and they're trying to make sure their times are assigned and their tables are assigned and everything is coordinated so they have an appropriate space if there are special needs for their table. Say you have a table that's two events running side by side, but they're going to join later. There are a lot of little things that go into making sure you place people appropriately and try and get them a space that's going to accommodate their game, or making sure there's enough kind of time between if somebody's like, well, my game might be this long, or doing the support to kind of guide people to making sure their event is set up right. Even that's a lot. They always do a phenomenal job though. Like Josh Pop heads the events team and code and tech pretty hard. So he puts in lots and lots of hours. So wherever he is right now, thanks Josh. You do great.
Thanks,
He's
Josh.
probably still sleeping.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
and our art guy who puts together and assembles just an insane amount of artwork for the convention. Lee, also phenomenal. Like they probably are the two beside myself who are on the Discord working constantly and tirelessly to everything happen.
That's awesome.
I'm usually there too, but I'm not staff, so
Yeah, you're just coming there to support me, and I keep telling him if he's gonna show up, I'm probably gonna make him be on comms. So
she already did.
I'll make you proof my stuff. It'll be great. Fun times.
Yeah.
So well, and that's perfect. I mean, so I'm going to come back to that in just a moment, Kat, because I got more questions for you.
Oh gosh.
um,
Uh-oh.
so Bash, you've been, you got an award this year, right?
Uh, yeah, I got this honking heavy of a thing.
What is that?
Well, originally it was a tournament trophy for some tournament they were going to have for GaryCon, whatever number it was in 2020. And we all know what happened in 2020. There was no physical GaryCon.
Yeah.
So, long story short, it's been like packed up and put in storage, and it's just been bouncing back and forth every year. And finally, this year, Eric, kind of like our quartermaster storeroom extraordinaire, uh, got Luke in there and was like, "Why do we keep packing this back and forth? Like, why?" And he looked at it and he was like, "Oh yeah, that was a trophy for something that was supposed to happen in 2020. This is now 2025." And we kind of just pitched the idea of like just put a piece of tape on it and like make it like a volunteer of the year award type thing, right? And like you have to bring it back every year and you know whatever. And that it pretty much that's exactly what it turned into. And yeah, I got it this year, so it's the
2025
first one.
Volunteer of the Year Award. Fantastic, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Take a bow.
I know I seen you running a lot over the weekend. So I mean I know you're all over the place trying to handle, whatever's happening. So can you tell us a little bit about that? What are some of the things going on? What you mean you start out, you're there like what, 3 days early for setup, or
Yeah, we got there Sunday. um and Monday was kind of the first day of unloading trucks and going through all the deliveries that were sent to the Grand, and kind of uh getting an inventory on things so we knew what we had, and that way we would have uh at least a couple of day buffer if we had to order anything, or we could run to the store there in town and get what we needed if we needed it. Um, so Monday was just a lot of hurry up and wait, and then go 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 once the truck got there. Um, and then I think Tuesday was a lot of actually getting everything set up. Um, correct me if I'm wrong, Cat, but didn't we start doing like all the swag bags and reward bags and all that stuff on Tuesday as well after we found the missing pallets?
I think everyone did because I didn't show up till kind of midday, a little
Yeah.
later on Tuesday. There were reasons. It was my daughter's birthday, so I wanted to have a
Mm,
little bit of morning with her before we left. So
I was just gonna
we
say
weren't
staff is kind of like that,
yeah.
poor, yeah.
Yeah.
But I believe most of that was almost done when my husband and I got on site. A little bit of a drive for us.
Yeah. And then Wednesday was more final touches on everything and getting ready for badge pickup.
Mhm.
Awesome.
And then the con started officially Thursday. And
Yep.
by Thursday morning, when the con officially started, I was already closing in on 50 hours. So by the time GaryCon started.
Well, it sounds like, obviously there's so much work that goes into making these events successful.
Yeah.
And, thankful, we all have to be thankful to folks like you that are there making those things happen, making sure that everything goes well. Um, so, that's all the work side to it. I mean, what's it really like being part of that staff? And I mean, I'm sure you guys do a lot of stuff, have some fun along the way. I mean,
Oh yeah. Like I can't
We're not allowed to have fun.
no
yeah, we're
fun,
not
We've
allowed
never
to
no
have
done
fun.
that.
fun.
No,
No
no
fun.
fun at all. And
What do you think
no
this is,
soup
a
either.
game convention?
What, there's games?
We're
Um
here for serious business.
yeah, rah rah. I can't speak necessarily for staff. Um but I know. Okay, so like before the dark times, aka COVID, um, I was just kind of like a partial volunteer, if you want to call it that. Like I would help at the end, like with some tear down, load up stuff or whatever. But then the COVID year hit, and we had like two less than 2 weeks to turn GaryCon from a canceled convention to a fully virtual convention. And I think the majority of us on that team that did all that, I think we got like maybe 10 hours of sleep in those 2 weeks. And then I had to run 40 hours worth of games at GaryCon. So that was a lot of fun. So that one was pretty much like my first actual year as like full time or full on volunteer. Cool. And then after that, it was just, I'd be there for setup and doing like a lot of the AV tech stuff, the stream support, and all that. Up until this year, because we didn't really do much streaming, anything this year, because like Kat mentioned earlier, it was a lot of things going on. A lot of our focuses were shifted around to things that were physical on site, and we really did not have that. I guess that like support team uh to kind of help keep everything going on that. So that's kind of one reason why we did not have a virtual side this year.
Gotcha. So, what do you, in your personal opinion, what do you think? Do you think that if they had the support, um, going forward to maybe create something back on that virtual side, do you think they would do it?
Oh, I don't know how much I should or shouldn't say.
Uh-oh.
We had a few ideas. I don't know if much will come from it because, we really focus on trying to make sure that March convention on site is as good as humanly possible,
Right.
as good as we can attain. Um, but a lot of us really did want to keep some kind of virtual gaming at some point in the year. So who knows? Maybe it'll happen again. I just don't know if it's in the cards right now. But there's always that hopeful. I'm still hopeful.
Absolutely.
Like maybe that midway point we can figure something out to like get you amped like halfway through the year for the on-site stuff, but kind of see.
Well, and I know there are members of, of our team that may or may not be able to make it to the physical GaryCon to run games, but if the option was there to run games virtually, as we did last year, we would definitely do that again. And
Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, as far as people to run games or DMs available, I mean, that's there, and we're small,
But
but I
what you're
mean,
saying is you'd like options.
well, for me personally, I'm always going to be there in person. I mean, that's
Yeah.
just, but I know there are members of the team that, ran virtual games in 2024 that were like, "Oh, damn, they're not doing virtual. I can't,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Because I can't attend in person."
Yeah.
So it's
We
that.
should set up. Oh, sorry.
Go for it, man.
I was gonna say we should set up halfway through the year because I can't wait on next year. Why don't
I
we why don't we have a gigabyte GaryCon, which is all online in the halfway point, cat. I will run 40 hours of games.
You know what? I love this suggestion. Do you know why? Because that's what I suggested.
Oh, great minds.
When we were
Great
first going
minds.
through talks about whether or not to do the on-site and online, the virtual gaming or not, that was one of my first suggestions is I don't want anyone to be excluded. So even if we at least have it somewhere in the year, I would love that. Honestly, I think if maybe you offered to help with some of the stuff,
Done.
who knows? Like I said,
Done. And
Rob,
you know what?
Rob's out there
We
in the
actually
audience
are.
right now saying he'll be there.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say if only we lived close enough where it would be easy to collaborate.
yeah, we'll say. I mean, not that we found out we live in literally the same like metropolitan city area or anything a few
Yeah.
weeks ago. Like,
Yeah. So I think we'll
believe me.
definitely follow up on that and maybe be a giga. What do you think? What are you gigabyte, Gary Con?
You're really trying to push that one. I don't know. It'll depend on if we can make it so or not. We'll have to see what everyone else would think possible.
All right. I think
Yeah.
Bash is willing to do 40, 50 hours.
Oh, comprende.
Nice.
Hey, no pressure or anything. I mean,
Foxy, you gotta quiet down a little bit.
I know. I'm getting a little too rowdy over here.
I do have a question. I do have a question for Foxy though, if I could interject.
Go for it.
So this was Foxy's first time volunteering. That's
First time at the con at all.
at the con. Okay. What was your favorite part of the volunteering? What was your least part, if you would share?
Wow, we're not gonna put her on the spot at all,
Not
right?
at all.
No, not at
Not at all. I mean,
No,
I would think.
I really enjoyed badge pickup because I felt like the volunteers that I was upstairs with doing the badge pickup, I mean, we really sort of gelled as a team in that moment. We all worked really well together. And I think, at least in the upstairs area, badge pickup went like super smooth. Not in the
Oh,
VIP area,
I
but
was gonna
the
say
area
she was
where I
on
was
the other
at
side.
was
It went
Hmm.
all right.
was fantastic. And I heard that silver badge pickup was way super fast too, which is
Fast.
great.
Mm-hmm.
very
It was
much.
very fast this year. We had a lot of compliments. Pretty proud of that.
And just getting to meet a whole lot of other volunteers who were basically there for the same reason I was, to make sure things ran smoothly and then to do some gaming and to hang out and to meet people. Because realistically, in real life, I'm actually an introvert. Like, I don't get out and talk to
Ah,
people a whole lot because I'm super shy.
really?
So being there, it's true. Um, so being there with people who kind of have the same mindset and a lot of the same ADHD that I deal with was a lot of fun.
So since we're on that right now, I think all three of you were in the upstairs. So that's the VIP and the special guest pickup up
Hmm.
there. All right. So we had some questions already in the audience about whether Ed Greenwood was there or not, and absolutely Ed was there.
He
So
was.
tell us who else was there. Who all did you guys get a
Uh,
chance to meet? Because you just happen to be the ones that are
is a
volunteering.
really, really strong term. Assisting people getting their badges. Well, I mean, there are a lot of people. Ed Greenwood's a name that comes up a lot. People are always excited to see Ed Greenwood, but people like Stefan Pokorny, the Legend of Adventurous crew, a bunch of them are there. Elisa Teague and some of the, other kind of cool people like Alicia Marie. They're both wonderful, and I got to work with them a little for cosplay contest when we're organizing that. Who else came up there? There were a few people who don't necessarily come to the registration area, or they
Um,
don't register for the pre-registration.
yeah, B. Dave Walters finally got to meet him in
Yeah,
person, and he's like super tall, like
he's so
very
tall.
very tall, extremely tall, very tall man.
Yes.
And Jason Carl too, not as tall, still
Not
awesome.
quite as tall. Different
Not
presence based
yeah,
on height.
yeah.
But there are just tons of fascinating, wonderful people. Anna Meyer, she always volunteers and does stuff too. She
Yep.
is awesome. I could
She's
listen
Hmm.
to
so
her tell
nice.
stories all
Such a
day.
genuinely nice person.
Yes, she is delightful. I'm missing so many people. There are just tons of people.
There are.
Tammy
There's a
Curtis.
lot. A lot of industry names that come through GaryCon that,
Last year, and this was one I was really excited about. Last year, Mike
Mike.
Pondsmith got to make it to
Yes,
GaryCon.
Yes, my son
I
got a picture
was
with him.
very excited by that one.
He even signed my cyberpunk book, and my
Did
son.
he?
Yeah,
I
because
got to be in that game.
Helen Cook introduced. Thank you, Helen. And my son was. I think he was. That was the most exciting part for him last year. This year, I think it was partying with Stefan at the Metal Midnight Bash in full plate armor. I
Yeah.
think that was his winning thing. I just wanted to say for the Ed Greenwood story, my Red Wizard of Thay. Is it Ken? So is it Ken? Castle Crusades guy. Last name Kenneth. He's a big guy, bald.
Pro Lords?
I don't know. That might be it. Yeah, I think he's part of that.
Yeah.
He brought me over to Ed, and he's like, Ed, look, check this out. And I'm in the Red Wizard, and Ed looks at me, and then he sees like I have all these press-on fake tattoos on my bald head, but they were just ones you get from like the Halloween, like reapers and skulls and dark shit like that. And Ed looks at me and he goes, well, actually, the tattoos on a Red Wizard of Thay would be more of like arcane spell ruins compared to like just looking like badass tattoos. So other Red Wizards of Thay would look at that and they would say, oh, that is like a power word kill, and that is like a time stop spell. And I'm like, okay, thank you very much, Ed. I will step up my game and get actual arcane spell ruins next year. I promise. Yes. But it was cool. I mean, the fact that he took the time and like literally talked about it. I mean, the guy is so passionate. I mean, how much time and creativity you put into the Forgotten Realm is amazing. And if you literally asked him, what do drow elves eat for breakfast? He will have an answer for you. I promise you.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And
Mhm.
if it's drought, it will probably involve a lot of mushrooms and
Yes.
cave moss and yep, all sorts of
Yes.
Mhm.
stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, last year I think Curtis there in chat remembers this too, but we were basically sitting in the cafe chatting with Ed, I think until like what was it, Curtis, like 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning
Whew.
one day last year. Yeah. Because I mean it was like one of those chances you just couldn't like pass up on, and you're like, all right, cool. Even though you're extremely like you're just dog tired. You're like, I should go to bed. But we're also sitting here getting to pick the brain of Ed Greenwood, and there's no interruption or anything else going on. So you're just like, I don't know. I guess we're riding this train till it derails.
And that is the coolest part about this convention. I can't stress enough to anyone who's thinking about going. You literally can just go there, buy a silver badge or a viewer badge, and then you can find yourself sitting down next to Ed or Stefan
Hmm.
or any of these people in the industry, and then just having these conversations. Very um, they like the one thing I think it was Taki. Um, hopefully he starts following us. But we met this guy named Taki. He played Mike the Dwarf, Greg, in
Hmm.
the Castles and Crusades game.
Yep.
Taki's got pictures with and it's Taki Dallas. That's his name. He's got pictures with Luke. He's got pictures with everybody. He's with the Big Show. I mean, literally,
Hmm.
dude is like this the social butterfly, and he's dead set. He's never missing a GaryCon, I think, again, and just a really cool dude. And he was at Stefan's midnight party, the metal midnight party, and he sees us walk up. Right away, he recognizes. He's like, "Hey, and he's sitting there having a drink, and he's like, "This is the coolest thing." He goes, "I'm just sitting here having a drink and watching this, like all these people that are from the industry,
Right.
talking to everybody, like not looking down upon people, talking to you just like you're an average. Everybody's there as a gamer,
Right.
and you feel like you're on equal levels. Nobody's looking down at everybody. It's just a really cool thing, and that was what Taki said from his first visit to GaryCon. But I think it was he summarized it really really well. And hey, listen, I'm not even getting paid by GaryCon, Cat, but we should like.
So many people feel that way though. Like, just a cool experience.
But I mean, hats off to you and Bash, because I mean you're as much a part of it. I mean,
I'm not
really.
important. I
Well,
just do some stuff
I
no
I
one
would
sees.
I would disagree and say that you guys are extremely important to all of it. And
That's
Luke
that's
just walks around and looks pretty with his little dog. Let's just be
He's
honest.
that's
really good at it though.
Yes,
He's
he
got that
is.
mastered. That is an art form that, yep.
Yeah, that
He
cute little
oozes
dog.
charisma, and him and Grogu especially
Am I gonna
stars.
am I gonna have to delete that part off of the?
Not at all.
No.
No.
I mean, and Bushra's amazing too.
She
She
really
is,
is.
Yeah.
She's delightful. I love
and
her.
I was surprised how much she's really involved too. Like
Yes.
I saw
Yeah.
her getting people moving, and I'm like, I'm getting out of the way.
And she
Like,
is
because I
damn good at
That
getting
As
realized,
is
people
long
that
as
was
make
moving.
sure
probably the best
something is
thing that
getting
she's done.
done, you talk to Bushra.
yeah, she started I was in the wrong. I was just wasting time in the wrong area, and she started getting people to work, and I'm like, I am running out of this room because she's
When
gonna put me to work if I
Wednesday,
don't get out here.
I probably
The
Wednesday,
thing is, she would have the way of putting someone to work who wasn't a volunteer, and you would thank her for it later.
Oh,
Mhm.
I would not argue. I'd be like,
Mhm.
yes, ma'am, you got
oh,
it.
we were naughty Wednesday because we invited ourselves up to the upstairs area to chat with folks, and I just knew as soon as she came in, I'm just hanging out there, and I was talking with a couple. I think I was talking to one of the guys. Oh yeah, another streamer basically, and she come in to get things rolling, and the look she like, I felt like she bored into my skull for a moment there. I was like, okay, yeah, time to go.
She's very no nonsense. Yep. She gets stuff
Yes,
done. She's
that's
good at
that's
it.
cool though. I mean,
you
she kept
nailed
she
it.
kept
You
everybody
nailed
on
that.
task. So
You're
Yeah, you
very
hit the
mission focused.
But she's also a very, like, warm person. Like, the first time she met me, she didn't even really know who I was, and she gave me a hug. I mean,
Awesome.
that's and I'm not a hugger. That's something that's huge.
And she's known me for years, and she still gives me hugs. So that says a lot to the patience that she has as
Right.
well.
She may just feel bad for you.
There's that's possible. But as far as the official pecking order of GaryCon, Luke is obviously kind of the face of
Yep.
it of the convention. And as he should be. He's the one who kind of got all this going and started 17 years ago. But it's at the top. It's Grogu. Then just barely below that is Bushra, and then Luke. And
I figured.
he won't disagree. So,
Not if
Well,
he's smart, and he seems like a smart guy. So
yeah.
here's the thing with all of that, and that's awesome, but all of you guys and Luke's family, Luke's wife, all the folks that are engaged in GaryCon, and all of the staff and the volunteers. I mean, you guys are all really super important because you're making um just my personal opinion, but I think GaryCon, and I haven't been to, obviously nowhere near every convention everywhere or anything like that, but I think GaryCon is my favorite out of all the conventions that I've been to. And 2 years in a row now, it's been an awesome convention, and that's all of you making that happen. So that's awesome. Thank you.
Like
Yeah,
I said,
we
team of dedicated people who just want to share things they love with everyone else.
Mhm.
yeah,
Well, in
we've
hope.
really come a long way since 2022 was the first one back after COVID.
I think
Yeah,
so.
because we had 2 years for virtual. The second year wasn't as bad because we had a whole year to prepare for it. Um, instead of like
A week.
13 days.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, we've come a long way since 2022. Every year, getting better, getting better. And we've got a good core of people there to facilitate and kind of do all the things behind the scenes that makes GaryCon successful. Um, and every year it gets better and better. The bar gets raised higher and higher, and
Love
a
to hear
lot
it.
of it is you know the attendees, the GMs, the players, the vendors, everybody that has feedback on how we can improve things. By all means, let us know because we that's how we improve everything.
We
I mean,
want to hear it.
obviously, don't waste your time with things like, uh, move to a bigger venue or more tickets. It's like, sure, go ahead, build a larger, convention space for us, and we'll talk. You know, but legit feedback and suggestions, we we
There's only
we
so
do
much we
listen
can
to.
do to change the food or the cocktail menu and
Yep.
stuff. Um, Things we can do is if people say, "Oh, well, I wish you would have sent more messages like this." That's something I might be able to change. Like, as someone who does work with comms, that's something I might be able to actually make improvements on.
Yeah.
Um, Sometimes, like, I felt so bad. I did have a friend who signed up for some events, and they must have been with same GM, but GM got sick or whatnot, had to cancel games. He kept ending up at a table that was canceled. I felt really bad, but it does happen. Like, better than someone going and trying to spread their illness around.
Hmm.
But it was still
Right.
a real bummer. But every year we get a little bit better at making sure processes are in place to make sure that those people get informed right away and then they can sign up for a different game or find something else to do in that time block they'd allotted for this. And
oh my god, we should have emergency DMs, cat.
Emergency
on-call
GMs.
GMs.
That's
If
actually a good
someone,
idea. I'm gonna write
if
that down.
somebody, yes,
Hey, I
like we
was
could,
I was on call
I would
for
sign
Pirate
up.
Borg this year, so
Yeah. Oh, I would so sign up for emergency coming. Like, hey, this one canceled, and like whatever the game is, go run it, buddy.
I just
I don't know, Kat.
whenever
I think you
somebody
have a
would stop
volunteer
me.
in the making right there.
Yeah. Hey, yeah.
Yes, yes. We
Whoa.
volunteers.
Yeah,
It's just,
lighten the weight of these chains, please.
hey, I
I,
put fires out for the business every day, so it's
yeah,
not much different than
I
running a, you know.
well, and I'm not too. You've got other responsibilities there, Mr. Darkpon.
I know. But hey, you know what? I'm after so just my experience. So 2 years ago, um, I thought it was a lot busy. I thought it was it was the 50th anniversary of
Right.
D&D. I don't know if that was what it was, but it sure seemed like it was a lot busier, a lot more packed, a lot more people. I don't know if that's a fair assessment compared to this year. It seemed like there's less. Am I wrong, or did?
Um, I don't know that you're wrong. Um, Last year there was a lot more press that was coming for very specific reasons, and some of them did return this year. They decided they loved GaryCon so much they came back again this year. A few people. That list was not as big as last year with the big 50th anniversary of D&D. Everybody wanted to go. We sold out, badges, and games were filling up really good. We had the same situation again this year too, though, with the 50th anniversary of Chaosium.
Mhm.
Oh,
Mhm.
But I don't think there was quite the same press presence, um, because market leader is still D&D for tabletop gaming, but
Yeah.
it's starting to shift around a little. So we'll see what that brings in the future. Who knows who the next anniversary people will be? You know,
Mm-mm.
I don't
Hey,
know what the next big anniversary for tabletop role playing games is. I'm
my
trying to think of it, and I don't know.
my
What's the
my
next big one
intention
coming?
is to bring Free League to GaryCon. So
That would be awesome.
Free League is great because I believe they had a booth,
no,
if I recall.
they didn't.
Did they?
Free League hasn't been.
No.
I am
Modiphius
going.
was there last year.
I am actually. I started talking with Chaotic Good Gaming earlier last year.
Hmm.
And I am looking at bringing not officially Free League publishing, but Free League games to GaryCon.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at doing that for next year. So
Nice.
So you're
yes.
thinking about like running them
Well,
or
I
having
run
like a
them
booth?
already. I'm thinking about actually having a booth in the vendor hall and
Okay. Yeah,
selling
because
them
I
as
know
well.
I thought I did see some of them at one of the booths. I just can't remember which one.
Somebody might have had. I didn't see any when
Was
I
it
went through.
Chimera?
Yeah,
Mm,
Chimera had some
Might have
Free
been.
League
Oh, they
stuff,
did.
but their booth is more set up like you walked into an LGS.
yeah.
Hmm.
So they had a little
Yeah.
bit of everything.
Yeah. Yeah, my focus would be a little different because we spend so much time with Free League games. It would be more exclusive to
Mhm.
Free League, possibly Artel Saurian as well. I noticed there really wasn't any Cyberpunk or anything like that there this year either. For sale, there were games. There's a lot of Cyberpunk games this year. So people who get into the Cyberpunk, you missed out if you weren't there because wow,
I know, but where was our Shadowrun peeps at?
they were there. They were just playing other games,
Yeah,
man.
right.
I think a lot
Yeah,
of the Shadow people who ran like Shadowrun last year, I think they ran Cyberpunk Red or something in this
Traders,
Cyberpunk area. This what do you mean? What do you
traders.
mean? What?
well, and a
I
lot of them did Call of Cthulhu this year too because
Yeah.
of the costume
yeah,
anniversary. So
I saw a lot of Cthulhu. It was cool.
They were so fun. Not that I got to play in one.
same. But circling back to what Chad said, um, yeah, last year was a chaotic nightmare, and I don't mean that in a negative way. It was just so much going on because it was literally 2 conventions back to back.
Oh, that's right. I
Yep.
forgot about
So
that.
See, and I had to go home in between the two because my daughter's birthday happened. So
Kids.
that's when things must have fallen apart.
Yes,
Clearly.
clearly. No, it did seem, and I'm not ripping on it. Like I didn't think last year was bad at all. I mean, I don't want to make it sound that way. It just seemed to me, and like I just felt. I mean, I like you said, things must just be getting better every year because it seemed, or maybe I just took some time to like sit back and enjoy things a little bit more. You know, maybe that's what it was. But it just seemed smoother. It seemed a lot more personal. It seemed
yeah.
um a lot less crowded. Other than the auction, I avoided that because that was just too much humanity and yelling for me. Um, but yeah, but it was great. I mean, if it gets better every year like this,
Yeah.
I can only imagine. I think my son is now saying not only does he want to wear full plate, now he wants a horse. So we'll have to
Nice.
discuss how that's going to work out. But
Get one of those
yeah,
like sticks.
right. Or it'll be
Yeah.
me. Yeah, I don't know. I'll throw some
Just
Sticks and
hardening on it.
coconuts.
I was ready to say just walk behind him with coconuts.
There you go. Click, 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 click.
That'd be great.
We get our
No,
Monty
like
Python going.
last year was definitely it definitely seemed a lot busier. Kind of also with what Kat said, there was a lot of press, a lot going on because it was the 50th, and everybody doing. There was just 10 million different things going on aside from just the games and events at GARYCON.
Hmm.
And there was less of that this year, and also we kind of uh, and this goes to Josh and Trevor and the rest of the events team and Dave as well, utilizing all of the available space that we have on the property for all the different events and games. So everything kind of seemed a lot not as condensed like it was last year.
Yeah, it definitely. I think that it created an environment of thinning things, so it felt like maybe there wasn't, you know what I mean, like it wasn't as busy, but it's looking at, I think it probably was just as busy because I mean I know they sold out all the tickets except for like
Yeah.
a couple of youth badges or something like that.
Mhm.
So and there were, you really looking through the games, it wasn't like there were whole games out there where like one person signed up, and almost most of the games were full. um
Yeah,
the
I think this
weather
year
didn't
we
help out
had
too
the
much
most.
though.
Yeah. Yeah, especially on the getting there part. Like this year, I believe we had the most number of events submitted and going than we've ever had.
I think that's true.
I think it was like almost 2,400 or something like that.
That sounds
It was
close to close
yeah,
to
it was a lot.
around there.
Very awesome. That is very awesome.
Yeah.
And that's you're looking at a game convention. I mean, that's I'm going to run games, but I mean, if I'm going to a game convention, I want to play something. So
Hmm.
2,400 options. And some of them are obviously scheduled during the same time, stuff like that. But I mean, I just looking at that. Okay, so here's a secret for you. I am sometimes very horrible with tech. Okay, so yeah, imagine that, right? Anyway, so I get everything set up. I get my games out there scheduled. Everything's ready to go. So the week before the con, I go in and look and just what events still have some openings in them and stuff like that. And I think I'm signing
Mhm.
up for a bunch of stuff. And for whatever reason, I didn't like check out. So I signed up for nothing, and I figured this
Oh,
out.
so you didn't check out your cart.
I figured this out Wednesday morning. I'm getting ready to go. I print everything off, and I print my schedule off, and all at whoops, I lost everybody. Give me just a second, and I'll bring them back. Gotta have at least one time when everybody gets dropped from the screen.
Yep, that tracks.
Yes.
Yep.
It was well timed. Yeah.
That was perfect.
Now
Perfect.
the
Yeah.
tech is just messing with you.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it was like telling me, yeah, you should just shut up and let everybody else talk. Anyway, yeah, I didn't have any games scheduled, so here's my secret. I attended all weekend long, and I played in several games and never signed up for one.
It
So
was funny because every game I was in pretty much had an opening.
So he kind of got lucky and just
I
kind
just
of
kept
like,
messaging. I kept messaging him saying, "Hey, you want to play this?
yeah,
The one you were leaving the parking lot."
literally
That's
on
at least
my way out, I'm driving, heading for the hotel, thinking, okay, yeah, I'm gonna call it a little bit early tonight, go
yeah,
grab something to eat and just relax. I'm driving past the lodge. I haven't even gotten to the turn into the lodge, and I get a text
yeah.
from him saying that he's got this game and there's still a seat and it's at the lodge. So I'm literally,
Mhm.
I glance down at that text and I look, there's the lodge. I'm like, oh, shit. So I pulled in.
Turn around. Yeah.
Mhm.
Turn around.
Yep.
yeah, because you got in the Castle and Crusades, the midnight game,
Yep.
which that one was pretty fun. That was a good group. That was the Memorial game. I think James
Oh,
Wright
nice.
is that? I think that's the one.
Jim Ward.
Jim. Yep. And his wife was running it now in his memory, and that was fun. It was a good group. And then there was an opening for that. Greg got in after The Walking Dead,
Yep.
and then yeah, the Birthright one at the Timber Ridge or whatever.
Yeah, I think those are the only two that I actually played.
Jumped in.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I had your two alien games that I played in. So,
Right.
I mean, it's pretty full weekend. Yeah, it's 8, 9, 12 games all weekend long. So, I mean,
Lots of gaming.
Yeah, I was supposed to be in a Cyberpunk game Thursday and Friday, but things changed for GaryCon and I had to drop.
ah, that's all right, man. I just, for me personally, I love running the games and meeting the people and just having an opportunity to tell some great story. That's the thing for me. Um, and never disappointed. That's the thing. Never disappointed. I had every table this year. I had some really great RPers, and unfortunately, my memory is completely crap, so I don't remember anybody. Faces, but names, I'm kind of like, yeah, I know that
Yeah.
guy. I just can't tell you who he is. Um, but yeah, awesome games all weekend long. Every game I was in was awesome for some reason. You know what I mean? I had great players to play with, a great story going on. That's the games that I played in. Um, it's awesome. I just enjoy people come play with me.
I have yet to dislike a game at GaryCon. I've liked every single table I've ever sat down at, play with people, and just have this few hour block where we just enjoy this little adventure. And it's always wonderful. And I have gone to other conventions, and I had a real rough game at Gamehole
Oh
last
yeah,
fall, and it wasn't anybody's fault. Some people ghosted the GM. Felt really bad, but the other two people at the table weren't really as engaged. It made it a rough game to get through. But it was a system I'd never played before, and I was really curious. So I didn't want to just stand up and be like, "Hey, I'm gonna bounce." And at the end of it, it turned around, and the other people started getting more engaged, and made it a little more fun. But it was a rough start. I've never had that at GaryCon. Every table's been a winner, every single one.
To
yeah.
be
So
fair, I
I
sort of
hope.
stacked my deck this year because I played in games run by Dark Pawn and Greg,
Mhm.
and that's it.
So you had a horrible experience, is what you're
It was
saying.
awful. It was the worst.
Dreadful. So dreadful. Yeah.
No, but what really surprised me was the level of RP of the other people at the table. Like
Mhm.
everybody was so engaged, and like the two sessions of The Walking Dead that I played in, it was the same story, but you had different people playing those characters. So just the flavor between the two sets of people was so different. It made the story completely different.
Right.
It was so much fun. I think that may be one of the things I enjoyed the most was just getting that viewpoint of how different just having the different people going through having the same basic information and make the same story.
Yep.
I feel that 100% as the GM running those games. I mean, the mechanics that were drawn out for that session were exactly the same, but because it's, you know, it's RP centric, the players made it feel like two totally different games. It was awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Then the flip side of that is when we were playing Cyberpunk, because I was in 3 of the Cyberpunk games, you know, we had Momo, Revenant, and Sorota, and I were the same, and then the other characters changed, and that was a lot of fun because it was like getting together with family, with people that you know, that you're comfortable with, and then the other players just jumped right in like they'd been there the whole time. So even the changes, between the different people that played Curly, it made sense and it felt realistic, even though the 3 different people I sat with that played that character played it completely differently.
Oh yeah.
Mhm. Now, is
Yes,
there
they
anyone who
did.
played it that was your favorite player for that character?
Not
Hmm.
for that character, like, all of the people that were in the Cyberpunk game were just so good.
Well,
It
I
was
mean, it's
so much fun,
cyberpunk, so right?
right?
Yeah.
But the character that really sticks out for me for some reason is that person that played Tommy that first night at The Walking Dead. They did so well. It was amazing. It was so much fun to watch.
Yes, I 100% because that and every you know I can't say
Every
it,
player at that
every
table was
they did,
amazing.
they brought their character to life. It's just it
Mhm.
was like a wow moment every time because they did such a fantastic job you know, bringing that character and making it a real person. I gotta say though, you are right with Tommy, the first session one, because she really brought that character to life. I mean,
Absolutely, just had all the heart. It was amazing. As he played Tommy like a kind of LARPer who knew how to do all of these things, but had never done it in practice.
right.
It was great. It was just
Mhm.
great.
No, they were awesome. I agree. When it comes to GaryCon, I don't think I've sat at any table, and most of them I've been running the games that I set up. But I mean, even the games I've been able to play in, which I don't think I've sat at any table where it's gone just completely bad. You know what I mean? Um,
Yeah.
and a lot of it's just it's the players that they go there to have fun, have a good time, and engage in whatever the game is. You know,
Well, that was like the birthright game. It was very old school how it was run,
Mhm.
and some people, not my style, but was it Eric Menge was in that,
Mhm.
um, and he played Lady Shalinder.
My
Was it
nemesis.
Shalinder? Yes. And he's a big guy with his glasses, and I know he wrote for some of the Greyhawk modules and stuff. But he just did this, elven noble, whatever, and it was so quirky and so just perfect, and the way he played it was fun. And then I mean, it just encouraged everybody else to role play. Probably wasn't my favorite, module, per se, and I mean that's fine. But again, just the people role playing at the table, it was great. It was a good experience.
When I think everybody at that table had a lot of fun. I do, and yeah, that's the whole point to a convention. Well, I would say a couple things. One is to go try new things because that's your opportunity. Try out new
That's my
games.
favorite thing to do.
Hmm.
Try new system, try new game, whatever it is, something new. It's always at least one thing I wanna do at any convention I go to.
And then after that, you get an opportunity to RP with people that are also enthusiastic about RP and about the games. And that's always a great thing. Is let's face
Mhm.
it, sometimes we struggle for the average person out who loves RPGs. You sometimes struggle to put a group together. And the cons give you an opportunity where you have automatic groups that are put together for you. It's fantastic.
I've
Um,
made some really great friends at conventions too. Like the
absolutely.
people who I know are going to be there the next year, and we'll chat and be like, "Did you see any really cool games you're going to sign up for this year?" But then it's the, well, I mean, we don't always get into the same game, or sometimes you don't cross paths with the people who you're really kind of hoping to that year, but and you're like, well, there's always next year, and I love it.
There was one really horrible game that we were in. I think I sat in it with Bashman. What'd you think about that game there, Bashman? What
Is
was
it an
that?
alien game?
Something
Oh,
about
that
aliens?
alien egg game. Oh man, that game sucked, man. Let me tell you, man.
Wow.
You know what
I
was
mean,
so funny? Do you want to know what's really
I mean,
funny
it's
about
it's
that?
like a fucking award-winning rule set. How can you possibly mess that up that bad? And I mean, no, no,
So the funniest thing about that game,
we're kidding. It was a great game.
the funniest thing about that game is my husband really wanted to play an alien game. We played him one last year with a different, GM, and he was really excited about it. And I was like, okay, well, it was really fun last year. Let's see if it's something a little different from the game we played last year. And I signed up for it too. And I think we were the first people to sign up. And it wasn't until later when I saw Foxy's name on the list, I'm like, oh, hey, it looks like we're both signed up for this game, because I'd kind of been virtually introduced to her through Bash. And
Mhm.
she was like, oh, yeah. And I'm like, well, that'll be exciting. So it just kind of happened that I
Mhm.
ended up in this game because my husband and I were looking for, a different system than some of what we can find locally, and kind of circumstantially worked out. Met some cool people who are also in Wisconsin like me. That's always fun.
It's all right.
People who live like, I don't know, like a 5-minute drive away from me. That's very rare that you meet someone who's like in
that
your
close.
town. Yeah. That was cool to me because it's the first time I think that's really happened. And it happened at one of my other tables too. I met someone else from this area. Small world moments that weekend.
Awesome. So what did you think of that Haywire character?
Wait,
Oh, he's an asshole.
which hold on, I'm trying to remember which characters were which.
Uh,
I don't remember who was who.
I-
I have it in my notes probably.
Haywire's the one
I was
I played.
I was the heavy gunner. I just lived to
Yeah.
shoot shit. That was my only prerogative in life in that
I
game.
was
Shoot.
Dylan really took to the Aerosmith one with the music and this and that, and it was kind of funny. My character was just, I don't know, it was just an interesting game. There was the like, I want to trust people, but I don't trust people moments.
we should
Mhm.
we should have shot that.
The funny thing is too, like as a GM, there's so much. Like I think Greg would attest to this. So when you're sitting down coming up with ideas and you want to run a game, um, and then when you run it, you learn so much. Like, I mean, even from the first game that I ran versus the second, I added so many other things into it, and it like improved for me. And I'm like, hey, this is better, and then just keeps growing. There's a lot of like of that quality that you can get as a GM to like improve your craft or improve your ideas. I think Greg, you would probably concur.
1,000%. You bet. That's the
So
go ahead.
was the first game better or the
No,
second game?
so honestly, my pacing, I did speed it up a little bit for the second one, but I did add some more things on the ship. So like I had the idea, and I mean I'm a juvenile, but with the pills to like jumpstart your body again, like coming out of cryo, I made a game where the grunts bet to see who could hold it the longest before they had to run to the bathroom. And literally they took to it, and two people crapped their pants. They didn't make it in time, so there was a lot of stress building up, but it was nice because the people that were there, a lot of them didn't. There were a lot of really new that have never played the system,
Mhm.
so just some things like that. And then towards the end they got a little further in the story, but it
Yeah.
played a little differently too because of what some of the other players did, change the arc. So it kind of went a
Mhm.
little bit differently. But no, it was great. I mean,
And
Are
I
you saying
enjoyed
it
it.
went a little
Think,
Haywire.
It did go a little haywire.
Hey.
Yeah. Hey. Dang.
Sorry, I had to.
yeah.
Yeah, no, it was good.
And
And I
well,
also got a
Oh,
ton of
jokes.
ideas. I got a ton of ideas. I've got a new idea for a con game that's meant for a con. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Um, yeah, I'm excited.
See, and
um,
I would have loved to have. I had originally signed up to run games this year at GaryCon because I had never done it before. But then I quickly realized, well, if I want to play in games and I'm here to work also, I probably can't run games yet. I'm probably not yet ready to try and do that. So I ended up having to cancel the signed up to run. But I
Take
did
a break.
that before the whole schedule was out there. As I took on different responsibilities and was like, I think maybe I can try and do that. So
gotcha.
Maybe,
You
maybe.
can do it. Just don't sleep. You'll be fine.
I don't want that.
Or maybe that could be all stuff you could catch up on your virtual Gary Con.
See, right?
Then
Ooh.
you could run a bunch and you wouldn't have to run around like chickens with your heads cut off so much.
I
Because
mean,
Bash will be running the whole east side of that, right, Bash?
No, no, not
I mean,
again.
why not? Sounds like fun. Who needs sleep, right?
Yep. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. I'll help you do that again, Kat, and I'll let you experience all the fun and joy that is.
No,
Considering there were like 4, I think, no, 3 nights that he didn't get in until after 2:30 in the morning.
I saw him. I saw him one night at the metal bash when my son kept saying we're going to stay later and later and later, and all of a sudden I ran into Bash and I'm like, "Dude, what are you doing? Why aren't you sleeping?"
Oh yeah, because we had just we were working on getting things ready for the memorial service the next morning.
That's what you said. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I ducked out of that one. Oh, was it the same time as you or a little bit earlier? Probably earlier.
I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure you ducked out earlier
Yeah.
because we were doing like, uh, we had
Equipment
to
stuff.
troubleshoot a bunch of crap with like Wi-Fi and whatnot,
Equipment.
and the
Yeah.
stream, and there was a lot
I
of
would
stuff.
have just got in the way. That and I like sleeping a little bit.
So since that came up, I would like to just touch on that for just a moment because we did at GaryCon 2025 there was a memorial service for Ernie, which
Hmm.
is Gary's oldest son. Um, so that's something really, to me, that's something really unique because the family tie to it, and how this con started, and honoring and remembering people in the industry, not just the Gygax family, but other people that have been honored and remembered through this con as well. um this year, unfortunately, Ernie left us like a month before the con, so I mean it was kind of sudden, and um so what
And it
was
kind of echoed Jim Ward
it
here
did.
before too.
Yes. And
Yeah.
Jim Ward, um, he passed kind of pretty
In
much the
between
weekend before.
FNL and GaryCon.
Yeah. I think it was that Sunday?
Yeah, it was
Oh,
really close.
Sunday or Monday?
I
It
think
was
it was like
between.
Tuesday or Wednesday.
Now I need to look it up. I'm gonna beat myself up until I remember.
Yeah, it kind of gave me that eerily like similar vibe though.
So
Yeah.
what was that like from the perspective of the the staff and the folks for GaryCon? I mean,
A memorial service.
well, just yeah, I mean that pivot and then the memorial service piece to it. I mean,
Well, a lot
You're
of us
right, it was
that
Tuesday.
yeah, a lot of us that have been there for a while, have gotten to know all of the Gygax clan essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Um, now I'm not going to sit here and say that I knew Ernie just as good as majority of the people you see there at GaryCon or anything. Um, but I mean, I have gotten into some like pickup games with him. I've talked to him. Eh, there was absolutely everything was great. You know,
Mm-hmm.
as far as from my point of view, but when something like that happens, then they decide that they want to do the official memorial service there at GaryCon.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. It's like we try to help out as much as we can, but a lot of it is just letting the family figure out what they want, and
Gotcha.
then going, okay, here's what we can do, or we can't do that, but we can do this, or this is feasible. This might be, but probably not.
So would
It's
it would
acting as support,
Yeah.
really.
yeah
Mm.
would it be fair to say that it was kind of like because when I heard what they were doing with that and kind of seen how it came together, um, I just got this my idea in my head that it's kind of like the family and then the extended family kind of comes together to make this happen. Um, is that a
That's probably pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Um, because yeah, there was, I mean, uh, Ernie's now widowed Donna was probably going through the shell shock of losing
right?
losing your partner, um, and Luke losing his brother, and trying to help figure out, okay, what can we do to remember him too? Like, that's my brother. He was one of the first adventurers to actually play D&D. How can we remember him in a way that's positive? Like, how can we make sure that we say our goodbyes in a way that's appropriate, and honestly, kind of the core of GaryCon is it was born out of the death of uh, Gary Gygax Sr. So having a memorial convention where you're having an actual more memorial and remembrance is kind of norm. The remembrance for Ernie was new. Logistically, it was making sure that the memorial was bigger than I think normally it is. Because every year there's the geek preacher is doing the memorial service and doing a prayer service. So it was making sure the stage for it was appropriate for how many people Ernie knew in the community who wanted to say their goodbyes too, because he had impacted their lives somehow. So it was really just taking this natural part of the convention
Yep.
and applying it the way it needed to be for the circumstance. Like seeing the community come together, even though there's this bittersweet loss of this is, someone's brother, this is somebody's spouse, this is someone who is important to all of these people.
Mm-hmm.
Not in the same way that, Gary Gygax Sr. was, but just seeing how quickly people pulled together to make sure Ernie was remembered too was kind of poetically beautiful. Like just knowing how many people care in the community and just saying bye to another adventuring companion
Right. Right.
and just pulling together to make sure that they're honored.
All I can say to that, Cat, is from my experience, there's a lot of really awesome people in the gaming community, and not just the creators and authors and dice makers and designers, and not just those people, just the players. There's
Yeah.
a lot of really really cool people,
Yeah.
and they're compassionate for other people in general, but compassionate towards each other as well. That's awesome.
And anyone who's lost like one of their adventuring buddies, especially for unexpected losses, like that every year you have Gary's table, which is set up for people to remember him and his impact on the industry for tabletop role playing games. And then this year having the additions for Ernie. And then there's the big wall of remembrance where you can go and write down people you've lost were important for your gaming experience, and kind of a magical thing to be able to be like, this will help make sure I never forget. This will help make sure I remember my adventuring companions and I never lose them, and I have a way to honor them too.
I went
Cool
I
thing
went
to
to
check
the
out.
I went to the table upstairs
Yep.
Thursday.
Every time I look at it, I won't lie, I tear up, and I like when I start to sit and stand too long, like it's the flood
Mhm.
of all those feelings. Oh.
Awesome stuff. Um, so to turn this back over to a little bit more of a positive note before we
Yeah.
roll out here. Um, so what were some of your most memorable experiences from GaryCon 2026?
Mine?
Yeah, I think I just want to roll through everybody and see, what were some of your most memorable experiences? Not like one, but were there multiple things that you're just like, hey, that was really cool, and yeah, I'm gonna remember that.
Who's going first?
You can.
I'll let you go first, Kat.
Oh gosh. Um, my most memorable experiences are always at someone's table where they're running an adventure for me. And I know the Kingdom of Kashnar crew, they kind of started doing some stuff at GameholeCon, but I didn't get to be in one of their games. So this year I signed up for one of their games, and it was after the memorial on Sunday. It was the last game I got to play in, and it was amazing. My husband had originally been signed up for it. He ended up kind of canceling his role in it so that the spot would be open if somebody else wanted it, but he was going to help with, cleaning up and stuff. Decided to switch how he was using his time. So our table was all female players at the table,
Oh, that
which has
game.
never happened to me. Awesome. Interesting dynamic there. And then we had our male GM, Ahmed. He was fantastic. He ran an amazing game. It was pretty ridiculous. We were all pretty into it, I think, and it was phenomenal. It was a really fun game. That was my favorite game, closely followed by um, the Court of Cthulhu or Call of Cthulhu one run by Alyssa Fadden. That one was also phenomenal. I got very lucky to get a spot in that one. It was great. But I don't know, like going around and chatting with people, and I had a few people who thanked me because they'd seen my name pop up on Discord or answering questions or answering questions on Facebook, and that was new to me because I only became staff between last year and this year.
Right.
It felt good. It felt nice to be like, oh, you're welcome. Thank you for being here to game and have fun.
Right.
One biggest thing that sticks out is a gentleman who was in one of my first games approached me later because he saw me walking, and his name was Drew. And I'd played with his brother in a game last year and just happened to be in a table with him, and he was like, hey, thank you for just making the game exciting and cool and like making people like more engaged and like making a game that I wouldn't have necessarily liked otherwise exciting for me. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. Those are the best compliments you could ever give another gamer is I like gaming with you. That is the best feeling is when someone actually like tells you like, hey, I really enjoyed that. That was really fun because you were there. Such a good feeling. Oh, the warm fuzzies. Yeah, that was my
Awesome.
favorite moment.
That is awesome, Kat. Um,
Yeah.
so Bash,
Um, oh man. I mean, I only got to play in the one game, so.
Admit it, getting the trophy.
Well, I mean, getting the trophy was really cool. I'm not gonna lie. Even though it is from the outside looking in, people would probably think it's like, oh, well, that's kind of, like almost like insulting or like a slap in the face. But no, the joke behind it is we basically recycled a trophy, right? But it's for the dead dog party. We're at the point where we just don't care. Like we are done. We whatever. So hence, the tape with the Sharpie on it instead of an actual plaque. It's all kind of, in jest and in good spirits. Uh but for me, every year it's just know, getting to see a lot of the really good friends I've made there over all the years. Because, might be talking to them all the time throughout the year in Discord, but I only get to see them once, maybe twice a year if I'm lucky. So that's always great. Actually getting a chance to just like sit down and hang out and shoot the breeze with people who are normally way too busy during GaryCon to do that sort of thing, like Luke and some of the special guests that get there earlier. Um, that's always up there for me. Seeing everybody just enjoy the fruits of all of the hard work that everybody puts in. It's nice. Constantly saying to Kat, "I'm just a volunteer." Every time she asks me for something.
So much. He said
Um,
it so much, you guys.
yeah, it was a lot.
Yes, yes, he did.
um, also getting stopped and praised for my plague doctor costume by Jason Carl was pretty cool. Um, I like that. That was awesome.
Did you give him
Um,
your card?
I gave him one. Yeah, it was awesome. Which I mean the costume was great, except for the fact I couldn't breathe for shit. Because mask, and then I got to play in the said alien game in plague doctor outfit, and I don't know if I'll do that again next year because that was hot. Um, but uh, it's hard to really pick out specific like this is like overall my favorite moment of the con. Um, because to me, pretty much anymore, it's like the entire thing kind of falls into.
Awesome.
Oh, and also smacking the crap out of Garner in when we were playing Magic. That was
Oh, so I played Magic the Gathering for the first time in like 20 to 25 years. I'm still not the best. Still not real great at it. But I decided to play anyway, and I took a bunch of people out with me in the end. Worth it.
That is awesome.
yeah. Garner thought he was about to mount a comeback, but
Nope.
the card I was getting ready to play was a Wrath of God or an Armageddon or something. It was a board wipe, and he basically got saved by the truck because as I was getting ready to just wipe everything from everyone, that's when the truck got there to get unloaded. So,
Saved by the truck.
yeah.
No, that sounds awesome. All right, so Foxy, how about you?
I think
What-
getting to meet all of the different people, and now I'm like, I've got kind of a list of people that I'm like, oh, I hope these people are in games next year. Like, girl that played Tommy and the kid that played Caleb that first night. They were so much fun to play with because they were chill, but they were like fully engaged.
Absolutely.
And Erin, she's amazing. She's a lot of fun. Um, and getting to get deeper into like cyberpunk because we played that one shot and that was a lot of fun.
Mhm.
But getting to like fully kind of get into that world, I'm looking forward to it. Like I'm definitely looking forward to next year and getting to get further into that storyline because now I'm like, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? Um, it was a lot of fun to like hand out the patches at the table.
Yeah, that was awesome. Everybody at our
Oh, there you go.
everybody at all of our games this year got a patch. So all the players got a patch depending on what game they're playing in. Um and it was a patch specifically designed for that game. So and Foxy made all of them. So awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And they're super cool, and I need a cool bag to put them on now. Gotta work on it.
I know, right? I just happened to find a bag that all of my patches fit on, barely, just barely.
We did a
But yeah,
couple. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
just getting to meet everybody. You know, actually meet people in person. Like that was, I think that was kind of the best part was just being able to meet people.
That is
Now
awesome.
you know that Bash isn't just talking to himself sometimes, right?
I mean, there are times that I wonder. Sometimes I wonder if he's not just saying I'm just a volunteer into the void
Hey,
because, you know.
hey, Bash. I mean, sometimes you really do have to consult an expert. I understand, man.
Yeah, exactly. 100%. Sometimes you just need expert advice. So, yeah.
And honestly, when they handed out that trophy at the dead dog party, like I was a little bit emotional because I knew how much work you had put in. Like I knew how tired you were. I knew how late you'd been out and how much you'd been running. And I was like, man, if they give that trophy to anybody else, I'm probably gonna start crying because that would just be heartbreaking. But
Well, as it stands for right now, I mean, it could change between now and when GaryCon takes place next year. But I mean, as it stands right now, I basically it's like I've got a championship I have to defend for next year.
so what you're saying is I won't see you all next year either.
Probably not. It all depends. But regardless, I mean, I know I'll be there because I have to bring the trophy back. So
Well, I'll be there because one of the perks of having volunteered so many hours is that you get a badge.
Yes,
yep.
you're stuck coming back now.
And
But
what?
even more than the badge, light up dice. I know y'all saw the light up dice at the table
Oh
when they
yeah,
were
those
playing
were sweet.
Cyberpunk because
They
I
were
got
Mhm.
those
sweet.
for volunteering.
Yep.
Those are nice. I like them very much.
The hoodie.
What about that
And the hoodie.
sweet hat you got on there, Mr. Bashman?
Stop it! Oh my gosh, I want that hat.
Well, and the funny thing was after we got everything squared away up in the VIP area, or like badge pickup for that side. Uh, who was it? One of the guest artists and his wife came up here, and picked up a badge and everything, and she was GMing like 30 or 40 some odd hours worth of games. So she was supposed to have a GM bag. Well, it didn't get up there. So I was just like, I'll run down to HQ, I'll get it for you. I'll stay here, I'll be right back. So I run down there, I deal with all that, get the bag built, put together, and everything that was supposed to get. I'm back up there, and I hand it off to her, and I was like, "Here you go." She's like, "Oh, thank you, so nice, so kind of you. You didn't have to do that." And I'm just like, "Oh no, it's no big deal." I'm like, but if you don't want to keep the hat, just let me know, how. Just like I said it, like passing as a joke, right? Like 3 minutes later, she comes up to me and she's like, "I really appreciate you going to get the bag for me," and gave me the hat, and I'm like,
Oh.
"Thank you."
That
That
was
is
very
awesome.
sweet.
That is awesome.
That is awesome. See,
But
I should have helped people cross the road. I should have been volunteering more, and like, dang it.
I could just see you doing that. I could see Chad out there waiting for somebody to come out of the building and be like,
In the red
"Here, let me
robes,
help
in the
you."
red robes,
Yeah.
red robes and staff. Follow me. Stopping cars. You shall not pass.
Hey, does this fog smell funny to you? No, but if you really want to pour salt in that wound, Greg,
Yeah.
in this house right now, there's 3 of these.
Ooh, I didn't do that. I didn't do that, by the way.
Well, I think we kind of decided that we're going to have one for Bash to wear, and then one to hang on the back of the closet door where all of the rest of his hats go to die. And then we're going to hold on to the third one for a few years and then donate it back to the charity auction.
Oh, oh, there's your chance.
Or you could put it in the will for it.
No, the hats they gave to the GMs this year were really, really cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, actually, before we get go ahead.
I did realize it was Raquel Serrano Sargent,
Yeah,
Matt
Raquel
Sargent's
Sargent.
wife. She was lovely. She was very polite.
Oh yeah, she was like even the hat part aside, like she was
Yep.
amazing.
She was great before the hat, and then
Yeah.
that just made sure that
That even
Bash
made her
would be
that
her
made her
friend
more bitter.
forever. Yeah.
It was good times.
It's just that's the thing. I mean, like we gave for all the games that we ran between Dark Pawn and I, and because Foxy Project made them all, we gave out all the patches, and we also gave out a set of dice for each of the Alien games, and we gave out a set of dice for each of the Walking Dead games. Just just kind of a hey, thank you, check it out, just to promote the game here. Go play some, enjoy it.
Somebody in this won a set of dice. And the ones that like to rub in the hat thing, I just want to point out.
You just getting prizes left and right.
I look, you had just as much of a chance to get those dice as I did.
I really didn't. You don't know my luck.
You just rolled
I
poorly.
mean, if it weren't for the bad luck, I wouldn't have any. So there you go.
Awesome.
Maybe it was the universe taking pity on me for the fact that I finally got to play in a game for the first time in like 3 years.
Could be.
It's like, let's never let this happen again. We'll give him some
Yeah.
That's all right, Bash, because we're gonna get you on stream one of these days for a episode of something.
Ooh.
I don't know how to play any games. I don't have any books.
Perfect.
Says the
I
guy
don't
with
know,
the
read
entire
good.
library behind him.
Yeah. No. You see nothing right here. There's no free league, no Modifius, no nothing. It's all computer paper.
All computer paper. So, Dark Pawn, how about you, man? What are your memorable?
Yeah, so I think I saw this hat, and no, I'm just kidding. No, my favorite part, honestly, the last year, my son, like convention, brought him, and it was great. Really bonded, and met this crazy cyberpunk GM, and had a blast. And he looked at me and said, "Dad, next year I want to wear full plate." And I'm like, "Okay." Like,
He wants to
and
be heavy metal.
right. So literally, I'm like, "How is this going to happen?" Because like everything in me was like, I wanted to. I'm going to kill Bash if he keeps showing that hat. I swear to God. But anyway, sorry, that was one of my invasive thoughts that just came out. But no, so we just started working on this, and literally that whole outfit took until probably 2 weeks before GaryCon to finally get everything in place. And he was just so excited to put it on. And then the reaction he got from everybody at the convention. I mean, everybody was just phenomenal. I mean, everybody wanted pictures with him. I think when we were waiting in line to get our silver badge, it was Casper who joined the Discord. Casper and his group were like offering him a spotted cow in line. They're like, "Dude, have a beer," and I'm like, "No, no, he's good." And he's like, "Oh shit!" And when he realized he was 16, I'm like, "Oh, it's cool." They're like, "You want one?" I'm like, "Yeah, why not?" So I took one.
Mhm.
But it was just really. Um, I can't believe how much he wore it. I honestly didn't think he was
Yes.
gonna soldier. I mean, 7 hours he had it on for one day. Um, and I mean, at the end of the day, for Stefan's, metal till midnight party, he's like, dude, I got to show up in the metal armor. And I'm like, all right, man, let's do it. So I think it was the quickest I got him in the armor. It took me like 15 minutes to get him all strapped in, all of his gambesons, all of everything. And I'm like thinking, okay, I just have to make it till midnight. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh crap. And then I realized very quickly that this was going to go long time, but he was having such a good time. And he kept asking me, he's like, Dad, we can go if you're tired. Oh, we can go. And like the minute he would say that, somebody else would come up and be like, "Oh my God, yeah, I love it. Can I take a picture?" And then they're like, "Is this your son or is this your dad?" And they're like, "Oh my God, you're the luckiest kid in the world. I wish my dad would have bought me armor." And and then he's like, "You have a great dad." And he's like, "I know." And I mean, I'm glowing. And I mean, I'm like, I haven't actually DNA tested to make sure he's mine, but I'll take the credit. But yeah. So all in all, I think that was the coolest thing because I know no matter what happens, that memory for him is going to last a lifetime. I mean, and he felt, amazing. And I think he's more interested in just putting the armor on next year than actually playing. But I think he's thinking about running stuff next year. So that's
Nice.
cool. And I think that this will just continue to be something for him and I that we're going to always have, hopefully for a very long, long time until I look older than Ed, Mr. Greenwood. Although he does have more hair, but, whatever.
I
But
mean, if you start your beard now, you could
just
maybe
start,
catch
yeah,
up.
start growing the
Mm.
whole thing out. He's got more
Mhm.
up top, though. I don't think he's
Yeah.
winning there. But no, I think that for me, by far, just the time with him and then making his dream come true. And I can't wait to see what he's going to want to do to step it up next year. And I'm going to have to, like I said, I'm going to have to get the right tattoos for my head for Ed. And I'll go back and I'll say, sir, have I finally encapsulated the right feel? And I'll get his blessing, and then I'll die a happy man. So,
I'll make you some stencils for tattoos for
I was
next
yes,
gonna
year.
say, if
yes,
you have stencils or can make
yes.
stencils, they have those tattoo markers.
Okay, then we'll have to get Ed to actually write the spells out in the
Yep, and then
Forgotten
we'll make
Realm.
the stencils, and
Yes.
yeah, yeah,
That
yeah.
might
And
be doable.
then
That might be
yeah.
doable.
Be
Or
able
I
to
can
Yes.
achieve.
I can also just bring a tattoo machine.
Oh God. Yeah.
Nah, I
Well,
think
If
the,
you do that, you're gonna have to give them your hat, though.
that's what I was gonna say.
yeah.
Is there a hat involved in this then?
I would gladly trade a hat for that one.
No, just the hat that's on your head right now. That hat.
But no, for me, I think that was it. I mean, but there was a lot of great things. This year just felt different. I also feel that just socialized more. There was more meeting people and talking to people, and some of that was the costumes.
Mhm.
It
Mm.
made people want to come up and take a picture, and then it started a dialogue, right? Instead of just looking at
Mhm.
this resting bitch face in the corner, sitting there
Mm.
like
From
this.
RBF.
Yeah, I do. This is my face. Unfortunately, I was born with it, but like,
Mm.
I don't think I'm maybe the most approachable when I'm just sitting there like with the RBF. But yeah, um, but yeah. So it was great.
Wondering.
I really enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to next year, and honestly, I'm looking forward to the next maybe some other conventions too.
So we're
Because I
gonna.
know his suit of armor was definitely a hot topic, kind of the
Awesome.
talk of the town.
Yeah, it
Mhm.
seemed like it. I mean, and there were constantly people that would come up. Even the photographer, one of the official photographers, I
Mhm.
forgot his name now.
Lewis.
Lewis. Yep, thank you. And the lady was
Renee.
Renee.
Renee. Thank you.
Not
So
that we know things.
No,
right.
not that we know these people.
How would you know?
Yeah.
No, but
I don't know. I'm just a
yeah,
volunteer. I don't know shit.
right. But
He had a
even
name tag on his badge. His name was on it.
yeah, and I mean they came up right off the bat and was saying, "Oh my god, like this is definitely the picture of the day for
Yeah.
Wednesday." And there was a lot of people that came up and were like, should have entered the costume part, contest, and we're like, yeah, but there's the rules on how much has to be handmade, and unfortunately I don't have a forge to craft metal armor, but
You don't have a forge yet.
yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's true, because that's Drew was like, hey, I kind of want to learn blacksmith, and I'm like, oh crap, how much is this going
So
to
you
cost?
start with leathersmithing.
See, that's why you go to I know the Texas Ren Fest has a blacksmithing course that you can take while you're there.
There is one at the local tech. Oh
Yeah,
Ah.
yeah,
there
I
is.
mean, yeah, so
And if
um,
you go to learn, I might have to too.
all
And then
right,
we can just do a group outfit.
Yeah.
Like all of
that's
us can get fancy.
I
that's
wonder if they
that's
have a group discount.
that's
Maybe.
Groupon.
perfect. That's perfect. Oh my goodness. Now what have we started?
But Kat did bring up a good point. That's why you start them off with the basics of leather making.
Yeah,
Makes
basics in
sense.
leather making, leathercraft. Yep.
Yep, leathercraft.
Yeah, you got to know how to make that first before you can forge all the metal you want, but you don't know how to put it all together. Got a problem. No,
Yeah,
I think
makes sense.
I think my highlight moment was like the Wednesday standing in line next to a knight in a red wizard, and we're chatting and someone comes up and says they want a picture, and then points at the knight in the red wizard and says that just you two, not him. Hey, all right.
So next year you need a costume too.
Well, that's
There
where
you
I was
go.
going, is maybe. I don't know, maybe.
We can coordinate this.
You both can be red wizard.
We could. No.
Actually, I could be a red wizard too. I just won't wear a hat. I'm all Matt.
Well, I mean, the red wizard needs sacrifices, right?
Yes.
Just
Red
saying.
wizard needs food bad.
Needs food badly. Yeah, gauntlet. No, definitely probably something for next year. I just personally, I just had a fun weekend. It really was an opportunity to meet up with a lot of different people, a lot of people that I played games with, that all of my games last year. Some folks that played last year that were not in a game with me this year, but stopped me and had a chat with me about it, about the games and just how much fun they had, and that was awesome. There's a couple players that sat with us last year in some of the Cyberpunk games. That the gentleman, when we Sunday, when the three of us were talking, Bash and Dark Pawn and I were talking, there was a group of gentlemen that kind of stopped and pulled me off to the side there. That's one of those guys. They're another group that does video gaming streams, stuff like that. And one of them had sat in a couple of sessions of Cyberpunk with us last year, so
nice.
he's just stopping to say hi. And actually, I think he sat in The Witcher with me last year, not Cyberpunk, but that was a lot of fun.
That's another game I want to.
Well, I ran Cyberpunk and The Witcher in 2024. Basically, all Artel Saurian games, because I was basically asked to run all Artel Saurian games because they're giving Mike the Lifetime Achievement Award for 2024. And so that was awesome, and it was a lot of fun. I enjoy Cyberpunk. I enjoy the Witcher system very much. Always been a big fan of Artel Saurian. This year, obviously I'm going to continue to run Cyberpunk, but we're changing gears a little bit and moving to some other things with Free League Press, and still have a lot more of that is to come. So ideally, the team for GaryCon 2026 will grow by 1 or 2 GMs. So there's some additional people to run some games, um, free league games there, as part of the channel, ideally. But that's the purpose, is to bring as much as we can to GaryCon and some other cons in Wisconsin. I know Dark Pawn and I believe, are planning on making an appearance at Gamehole Con this year. Um, Probably just a
Nice.
1 day thing, but we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. And looking for any other, opportunities. Really, I'm looking for opportunities in Wisconsin, Minnesota, Illinois, possibly Michigan. I don't know if I want to drive around the lakes, but Panhandle could do. Um, but yeah, if there's a con that you are passionate about, in one of those states, preferably Wisconsin, but Minnesota, Illinois, Ohio, Iowa, completely open to. Then join our Discord, pop it in there, and let me know. Take a look at it and see, maybe we can make an appearance there. Maybe we can run some games.
Oh, come on down to Kentucky. It's only like 8 hours away.
Yeah. You never know. Maybe. The more of this I do, the more of this I end up wanting to do. I've been I've been playing games for a very long time. Got into the more creative side and doing the creative work, the streaming piece, and running games for conventions. Actually, the first convention games I ran were in the late '90s, for the first Concentric in Illinois. I don't even know if there is a Concentric anymore. I think there is, but it's just not. The first one was at the Ramada O'Hare. Um, yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I didn't run games at cons. I didn't even go to cons for a long time after that. And over the last probably 4 years, 4 to 5 years, I've gotten more engaged in this, the content creation, development, and one thing led to another, and here we are. And still going in that direction. So developing more stuff, getting more story out there. Yeah, so GaryCon 2026, I am definitely looking forward to it. And any other cons in between now and then, to kind of keep those creative juices going. I did want to, just quickly plug, when it comes to, what if you're available to do it, please consider taking a look at some of these, the local cons, GaryCon in particular. Don't be afraid to sign up to be a volunteer and go help these guys out when it comes to the amount of effort and work that goes into getting these cons together and getting them to work right. For one thing, you would have an opportunity to not only work with some exceptional people like Kat and Bashman, but people who have a lot of experience in doing this. And that's the thing right there. That's more valuable than the hats and all the other stuff. Is being able to work alongside those folks that have that experience and have the opportunity to learn from them, and see how do they do it, and meet the people, valuable contacts. I think that's about all that I have for tonight. Anybody have any parting words they want to share?
Go to GaryCon. What?
Definitely get on the GaryCon Discord and check out their website for when next year, when all of the things start for next year, because, badge sales start significantly before the actual con.
Yep.
And you definitely want to get in there and get a badge. Um,
Mhm.
and I found it very helpful to go in and see what games and things were available before the con started and before they started like opening up ticket sales for the events. So I had an idea of what events were even available. lot. It takes a long time to go through them. So, um, spending some time ahead of time once all of the events are scheduled to see what you want to do. But if you do go, be sure and leave some time open in your schedule to just mingle and stand around and talk to people.
Who goes to gaming conventions to talk to people?
Right? I
Right.
know.
No
I just
way.
go there to throw
Volunteer,
money in the vendor hall and play plinko and
right?
win lots of
Oh
shit.
my gosh. That vendor hall, they had so much. I mean, there was some really, really cool stuff in the vendor hall too.
Dave Conant works very hard to make sure that everyone is placed in a way that makes sense and we have variety, make sure we have at least a couple new exhibitors every year, and tries to keep the ones that are popular or that people really want to see every year, trying to make sure they have their spot if they can make it, and he does a great job.
Somehow I'm imagining wandering, cosplaying as Bob.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah, didn't
oh,
we have two vendors that one just didn't show up. One of them was they let us know before Gary started. I
hmm.
just can't remember. The tattoo booth had a family emergency, so
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. They were supposed to have kind of like a pop-up tattooing, booth this year,
hmm
an exhibitor spot, but there was a family emergency. Cancel here last minute, and it was sad for everyone.
and then there was another one that just didn't show up. So
They did, um,
uh,
there's a story behind that, but they did end up showing up, and they did actually end up getting a kind of makeshift spot. Dave wanted to make sure they were still taken care of despite, we'll say, a little communication snafu. So they still
Okay.
no,
had a corner booth. Um, it kind of it wasn't the best for traffic flow in that one corner, but it worked out, and people really enjoyed their booth too. So just kind of had to roll with it and make sure things happen.
Oh, Bashman, do you have the rings handy
Rings.
to show off?
The
uh,
rings,
I have
the
disco
rings of
spiders
power.
if we're just showing off cool things.
I mean, I've got some of
oh,
them up here.
that's cool. Disco Spider.
I have lots of weird random stuff in my room. Oh, here's the plague card. I have
Nice.
contracted the plague, you guys.
I
That.
didn't bring
Oh,
any. Oh man, I should have brought some of the
nice ring.
swag stuff. Yeah,
And
I don't have it here with
uh,
me.
One.
I have
Spender
like
one.
my stack of swag stuff over here.
They were deceived, but another ring was formed.
Yeah, the Beholder ring from last year, the Cthulhu ring from the year before, downstairs in the backpack.
Very, very nice.
I do
And
have cards wandering, and I actually handed out some of my cards.
All the patches.
patches,
Yeah, I showed mine off
patches.
before. There's
Yeah.
Yes.
By
one
by
patches.
by the way, I have some special patches that I'm going to send out to all the cast members for Wildfire. Who will get a patch?
Nice.
I got Dispatch.
I
Which one
love
is that?
patches. Does that
Upside
mean I
down.
have to join the cast of something to get one? I really
Yes.
like patches.
If that's going to work, then I'll say yes.
Oh, well, I like patches that much, so probably.
Hey,
Nice.
Also,
uh,
gaming's pretty good too, I guess. So I don't know.
yeah, I mean, if I got to do some gaming to get the patch, I guess.
Really need that patch, you guys.
I've done.
I've got a fever.
I've done worse things.
Wandering
For
endlessly is
patches, I
reminding
certainly hope
us.
not.
All you
I'm
need is 20K points to buy yourself a spot on an episode.
Man.
Shit.
Here,
See, that's funny because I literally just hit 20K points at the beginning of this stream.
Nice.
Awesome.
I got
awesome.
2.4.
You can donate those, right?
Well, we you know what? We talked about that. I need to set that up so that people can pool points. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that'd be an awesome idea and give people an opportunity the people who really are not interested could spend their points to help somebody else get a spot. I think that would be awesome. So season 1 of The Walking Dead is going to be coming to a close pretty soon. There will be a season 2, but we're going to do something a little different. We are going to have an off season, so we're going to take a little pause on that, and we're going to do something else in between. So we will technically have two series going. In that next series, we don't fully have a cast figured out yet. So, just saying.
Oh, I
There's
see.
your,
I see.
there's your chance, Cat. Get a pet.
My chance. I'm in another streaming group too, so it'll depend on when it is.
That's up to you.
No. This is a pretty good time for me. Saturday nights tend to be kind of my downtime.
Yeah, that's
not always when we're in heavy GaryCon prep season. Time gets a little strange.
right.
Comes the weird. So.
But yeah, so we have that going on, and I do believe normally tonight would have been the next episode of The Walking Dead. We decided to bump it back and run the RPG deep dive tonight to basically get the GaryCon recap piece out. Really wanted to get you two guys on, Kat and Bashman. So thank you very much for joining us this evening and sharing your experience. That is awesome.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it was great.
Absolutely, my
super fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good time.
Oh, it's Fallout time.
I would play in one of those for sure.
Oh man, I would love that.
Well, who knows what could happen. I put a thing out there for our cast members on the Discord to basically give me a list of games that they, what would be their top 3 games they would want to do. Ideally it's going to be Free League, but it doesn't have to be. It could be anything, honestly. I'm wide open. There are I would say right now I would run most anything, and if I'm not going to run it, then we have other DMs in the channel, such as Darkpawn, who might run as well. So that is always get a little variety. Hey,
I think Darkpawn and I are of the same like wavelength here. It's like you're saying, "Oh, suggest the game." Both of us are just like pointing to the shelves behind us. Yes.
Yeah.
Pick one.
Game.
Yeah. Say, hey, jump in. We'll definitely. You know what? I'll open that up in the Discord for people to suggest some games as well. So that we're taking everything into account there. But it really just depends on what do people want to see. That's the thing. It really just comes down to that. I mean, there's so many games out there that I want to do something with personally. That the list is so long, it's hard to choose. And I also
so many rule sets, so little time.
Well, exactly. That's the other thing too. Is you got to make sure that you actually know and understand the system. As long as I have enough time ahead of time, for me personally, I don't view that as too much of a problem unless the system's super complicated. It is always possible that we'll end up playing Cyberpunk again, maybe, or Fallout, or Blade Runner, or this goes on. Simbrum, Jason,
Tales from the
Loop, Electric State.
That's one that I'd be interested in. We got that one. We have the book now. So now it's like, when can we have time to play with all of these tiny humans around all the time?
Yeah, exactly. Well, that'll be coming up. Also, I believe it's going to be called the Raz Emporium is going to be coming up very soon. So we are going to have an online shop where we'll have some interesting things, because Razmataz is a creature from the Feywild, so we're going to have some very interesting things in there.
Hit everybody with the razzle dazzle.
As is Stefan Pokorny, I'm convinced.
Yes.
I might have to go have a chat with him again.
I think you're both. I think you're both from the Feywild. Yep, convinced.
But yeah, so that's what's coming in the very near future for us here on the Razzmatazz channel, and
we'll be covering Cyberpunk all next month.
all next month.
Ooh.
Yes, 4 weeks
Next
in a row.
month is in April.
That's not very far away.
No, it's really not.
There's a story
That's
behind
like
that.
a couple days.
There's a story behind that because I completely screwed up and told everybody all weekend long next month in May. Completely skipped over April and told everybody we're going to do it in May.
April doesn't exist.
April's gone.
Like,
we need to just all just recuperate the entire month of April.
And somebody waited until Sunday to point that out to me. Not going to name any names, but
I mean, it's your channel. I wasn't going to try to take over, but I was just like, what are we doing in April if we're covering Cyberpunk in May?
So sometimes I need a lot of help, but you know.
I'm just a volunteer, man.
Yeah.
There it is.
Oh no!
Wow.
Here we go.
Wow.
Hey, wait a second. So am I. While we're talking about it.
And on that note, I think we better end this thing.
But we will see you Wednesday.
Yes.
For the first episode of Cyberpunk.
Yes.
We're covering the game.
We'll be discussing the world of. Right?
Yes.
All right. Awesome. Again, thank you guys very much. Everybody have a fantastic evening. And we'll see. Actually, if you guys will hold on just a moment and I'll close this thing out. Everybody have a fantastic evening, and we'll see you next Wednesday. You don't have to hold on quite that hard, though.